He was born Lloyd Allen Blasingame in 1949, but changed his name to Muneer Bahauddeen when he joined the Nation of Islam. He moved to Milwaukee with his family in 1990, where the city would become a canvas for his life's work.
The process I use, everybody's doing something a little different, but when I conduct a Peace Post community workshop, the first thing I have them do is write a vision statement on a strip of paper that helps them visualize what they want for themselves, or what they want for the community, or what they want for the world. They roll it up, and then we set those aside. And then I give them clay. Clay probably no bigger than this, that will allow them to either work the whole surface or cut out individual tiles and do different things with line, color, and texture. Paint them, and then I put them in the kiln. I like working with cedar posts, so I get cedar posts. I chisel them out so that the tiles can sit in the wood and not on the wood. But just before I set them in the wood, I drill a hole in the wood and set all the prayers and all the visions in the other stuff.
That's a clip from The Good Land, a film by multimedia storyteller Natea Taylor, who joins us now to talk about her experience on making the film with Muneer Bahauddeen. So thank you, Natea, for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
We were talking a little while ago about you having the chance to meet him and talk about the process of, getting the film started and meeting him and getting this documentary going.
Yeah, so I met Muneer in 2021 as an urban studies graduate student at UW-Milwaukee. I was a project assistant, and I had to help with his Peace Post workshops in the community. So I would talk to Muneer on a weekly basis to help him plan his workshops around art and peace in Milwaukee. And I really loved what he was doing, and I asked if I could make a documentary about him, and he said yes.
So what went into making the documentary? Just following him around, learning more about him? Just talk about that process.
So because I was a project assistant for 2 years, I had already built an established relationship with him, had been to his studio and learned a lot about his practice. So it was really natural. We just set up a time to do the interview at his studio, and then I participated in one of his Peace Post workshops to get some B-roll footage of him in action.
So if you want people to know about him, if you want people to know one thing about The Good Land, what would you tell people about the film?
I would say that Muneer was just always in good spirits. Like, I don't think there's anyone that could say anything bad about Muneer, because anytime you saw him, he was always kind-hearted. And anytime you left from seeing him, it was always, you felt better. And he was always very intellectual. So when you watch the film, you'll learn not only about his practice, but also just about his intellect as well.
Anything else you want to share about him or the film?
Well, I just want to say it was a pleasure being able to know him for the past 5 years, and there's currently a GoFundMe for a foundation that his children have started. So if people want to donate to that to continue his legacy, that would be amazing.
Thank you so much for joining us, Natea.
Thank you.
Lucille Berrien was a political activist and a member of the Black Panther Party. She was the first black woman to run for mayor against Henry Meyer. Now, we don't have any video footage of her, but local historian Dr. Sandra Jones discussed her importance on one of our programs recently.
Lucille has a history of activism in the city of Milwaukee. She migrated to Milwaukee from Florida in about the 1950s, and her whole history here, she's contributed a lot to the history of Milwaukee, has been fighting for the rights of people, fighting for the rights of African Americans in the city of Milwaukee. She worked in the area of housing. She worked in the area of welfare rights. She was one of the founding members of the National Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression, which grew out of the national movement to free Angela Davis. She was the first African-American woman to run for mayor in the city of Milwaukee back in the day. She also ran for Wisconsin's state treasurer in, I think it was 1990s. And her whole life has been giving to the community that she has loved.
That is a pretty profound and extensive history, so happy to learn that. And we dug into our Milwaukee PBS files for this interview with our third ancestor, Dr. William Finlayson. He and his wife were guests on I Remember. His wife, Edith Finlayson, preceded him in death in 2001.
He originally is from Florida, she from Ohio. They met at the Meharry Medical College in Nashville, Tennessee. William Finlayson was a third-year medical student. Edith Norman was studying at the School of Nursing. They married in 1952 and pursued careers in medicine. He in obstetrics and gynecology, she in areas such as surgical nursing and nursing education. Their family grew to include 2 sons. It was in 1958 that a group of African-American physicians in Milwaukee invited William Finlayson to join their medical practice. The Finlaysons moved to Milwaukee from Minnesota and soon found themselves involved in a vast array of civic and civil rights projects. In 1964, Dr. Finlayson invited former Morehouse University classmate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to speak at Milwaukee's auditorium. Dr. King came. Mrs. Finlayson was in charge of security. The Finlaysons have known many famous people, including Archbishop Desmond Tutu and author Alex Haley. In 1970, Dr. Finlayson was instrumental in opening and sustaining the North Milwaukee State Bank. He served as the board chairman 23 years. Mrs. Finlayson has served in dozens of leadership roles in the community, including as a member of the UW System Board of Regents. Both have received the Human Rights Award from the National Conference of Christians and Jews. Perhaps one of their most memorable accolades comes from son Reggie, who once wrote, in part, "Behind the man, she was the woman." He marched and spoke and demonstrated. His race concerns were clearly stated. The story, a life unfolds, with trials and triumphs, some call bold.
Did you find when you came to Milwaukee that as a black physician you were readily accepted?
Well, there were some difficulties. When I first came, there were very few black physicians on some of the better hospitals. And we were well trained, like there were many others here at the time who were well trained. And we managed to break the ice on a couple of those hospitals.
Yeah, you were the first black physician on a couple of the hospitals.
Yes, yes. And it's gone fairly well.
He's known as the baby doctor of Milwaukee. Some 10,000 babies are born. My daughter even has been born by him, and everybody seek Dr. Finlayson out when they're about to have a child for his gentleness, his love, his charity. He really does take good. For example, he invited me into the operating room when my daughter is born, and I obviously were taking pictures, but he told me to put my camera down, and he actually handed me my baby, just pulled my baby out of my wife's belly and handed me the baby. Said, "Here, what you gonna do with her now?" Of course, you know, I haven't gotten rid of her yet. But he empowered me to begin to think about the responsibility of being a father and the awesome joy in loving your children and loving my daughter, obviously.